All right, welcome back to KM6LYW Radio, show about amateur radio or ham radio, reimagining radio in the information age. Hey, this time we've got a new release of the DigiPi 1.9, an amateur radio data transceiver. Let's talk about it on KM6LYW Radio. Yep. Yep. All right, welcome back. Yeah, we're still getting away with the bumper music. It's free and simple. Really low production value so we can pass the savings on to you. Let's talk about DigiPi 1.9. It's out. Okay, so what is DigiPi? In a nutshell, DigiPi is an amateur radio data transceiver. What's data? Well, data is anything that isn't voice. I mean, we can all talk into a microphone, but let's say we want to do email or SMS or make contacts keyboard to keyboard. DigiPi will do all of that. In fact, it'll do APRS, TNC, Digipeater, AX.25 networking. It'll even do IP over AX.25. It will do, there's a bulletin board on there, so you can actually do a bulletin board over amateur radio. I even loaded a video game, Zork, on there. Of course, it'll do WSJTX FT8, which we see here, JS8 calls, slow scan television, FL Digi, and it'll do all of that. So you plug the DigiPi SD card image into a Raspberry Pi, hook that up to your radio, then all of those data modes are available to you on your tablet or your phone or basically anything with a web browser that has Wi-Fi. So you can access your radio, use all of these digital modes, and you don't even need to be near your radio. You can be in the other room, in the living room, in your easy chair, operating FT8 with your tablet or your phone. So that's what DigiPi does ultimately. So there's a couple of different builds. Let's talk about them. So the first build is arguably the easiest. All you really need is a Raspberry Pi. I like to use a Raspberry Pi-Zero 2 wireless, making sure you get version 2. This is $15, guys. $15, and get the ones with the headers on there as well. So $15. Don't get cheap on me, guys. $15 for a full-blown computer, amateur radio transceiver. And for fun, you can get this little screen as well. This is going to give you a status. It's going to show all of our APRS packet information. Get that screen. An SD card, and then if you have a USB-based radio like the ICOM 705, the Yaesu 991, the ICOM 7300, what else do we got? Any of the Xiegu models, basically any radio that has a USB port on it that's supported by Hamlib, you can do this really simple build. After all of this, all you really need is a USB cable, and you are done. And you are on all of these digital modes on your amateur radio using nothing more than your tablet or web browser. So that's build number 1, or build A. Now, for radios that don't have a USB port, we don't need the USB cable. Let's say you've got your dual band rig here. This is actually one of my favorites, the Yaesu 2980, a big old dual band rig. It doesn't have a USB port. So what you need here is a way to capture the audio out, a microphone in, a push to talk signal, and a ground wire. So you need to get a cable for those 4 wires, and then you need an amateur radio adapter. And we've got a bunch now. You know, in the beginning, we were just twisting wires together to try and make one of these dual band rigs work. We'd use a little FET and a transistor. We're still doing that, but the hardware players out there really stood up and made some cool hardware so you could hook your DigiPi up to your dual band rig. N7EBB came up with a device, I don't know what we call this, radio interface board, RIB. You attach this to your Raspberry Pi and you hook up your radio, those 4 signals, to this the DIN pin, or maybe you use a DigiRig cable and hook it up that way. Masters Communications, not to be outdone, came up with the DRA-Pi-Zero. This is totally cool. Very similar, the same ports, same pinouts. In fact, you can just go ahead and put the screen on top of this if you want, and then put this on your Pi, and now you've got a DigiPi ready to be hooked up to your dual band rig like this Yaesu here. So lots of amateur radio data transceivers or hookup devices. What do we want to call these? I want to call them adapters, radio adapters, I guess. I don't know. We need a better name for these. Hey, Ella Kits or Parts came up with one. This is called the DigiPi Hat. Thank you. I mean, we're literally making hardware for the DigiPi image. This one's pretty cool. This is affordable. In fact, it comes with the screen and has a DB9 connector, so you can hook your radio up that way. Again, you just need audio in, audio out, ground, and a push-to-talk wire. DigiPi and one of these radio adapters will do the rest. So build A is going to use a USB cable for USB-based radios. I've got a bunch of cables here. Build B is going to have a little extra radio adapter on your Raspberry Pi. And it'll allow you to hook up to your dual band rig. And that could be an HT or a Baofeng. I use the Yaesu 2980. It could be a Yaesu FTM 400, a Kenwood. Anything where you can get, like cut up an old speaker mic. That'll give you audio in, audio out, ground, and push to talk. So in this video, I'm going to build a Type A DigiPi, and that's where we just have a Raspberry Pi, a little screen, and an SD card. The first thing you do once you have your hardware here, and a USB cable. Don't forget your USB cable to hook up to your radio. I'm going to use the ICOM 705 in this case. Once you have all of this stuff, go out to digipi.org, and if you're a patron, you can download the DigiPi SD card image. Go ahead and download that and burn it to your SD card or etch it. There's a variety of different ways you can do this. The Raspberry Pi community can help you out, but I think Windows people use Etcher. So the DigiPi SD card image from the website here, use Etcher on Windows, and then burn it to an SD card. Then assemble your DigiPi, and we're simply going to, this is drop dead easy, so I'm just going to put on the screen here, and I'm going to insert an SD card image that has DigiPi on it, and then I'm going to apply power. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hook up the USB cable first too. So the USB cable goes in here, goes in the middle port, because it's easy to mix those up. And then I'm going to plug that into our radio. And then I'm going to apply power to the DigiPi here, and you make sure you get the polarity right here. You ever notice that with USB cables, it's like there's the this is wrong, and then this is right. That's how USB cables work. All right, so power is applied. We are online. Cool. All right, DigiPi is going to take a minute to boot up, and it is a hotspot here. I don't know if I can get the orientation right here. There, you can see that. You see DigiPi splash screen, DigiPi 1.9, brand new. So what you want to do at this point is get it on your home network. This is what I do. So if you got your phone here, just go ahead and go to Internet Settings, and you're going to look for a hotspot. The hotspot's called DigiPi, and that's going to take a minute or two for the DigiPi to try and connect to your home network. It can't right now because it doesn't know your home network password. But eventually we're going to see DigiPi pop up right here. And as soon as you see it, go click on DigiPi. The password is going to be ABCDEFGHIJ. Super secret, don't tell anyone. That'll get you to DigiPi. It'll say connected, but it can't provide internet because, well, there's no internet behind DigiPi. It's a peer device. So I'm going to close this here, and then I'm going to open a web browser, and I'm going to go to 10.0.0.5. Let me get rid of this here. 10.0.0.5, that'll be the address of DigiPi when you're connected to it as a hotspot. In fact, if you're on the summit or a park, that's going to be the address as well. So go to DigiPi. You can see all the services are running. In fact, it starts up as an APRS iGate. You can see right now it's already getting APRS stations. So we haven't even initialized this or put it on the network yet. Let's click on Wi-Fi down here. And I'm going to enter my home SSID, which is XXX, because I lack imagination. And now you guys all probably know my Wi-Fi password. That's okay. I live in the middle of nowhere. And I'm going to hit submit here. And now DigiPi is going to be on my network at home, my Wi-Fi network. I can hit reboot. Now, if for some reason you're on the summit or something, it will revert back to hotspot mode. But right now, it's going to reboot itself. Like it says, restarting device, and it'll be on your home network. It's just easier to access that way. So you can hit it with your phone or your tablet or your PC with your web browser. So once DigiPi is rebooted and it's on your home network, use any web browser and just go to DigiPi. It might be digipi.local. It kind of depends on how your home router configures it. I usually have the most luck just by going to digipi/. I'm going to go there. And it'll take me to the DigiPi homepage, and this is where we have all of the services that DigiPi provides. So it can be an APRS TNC, which is what it is right now. In fact, you can see it's a default mode. You can of course change that. I don't know, give you guys something interesting to watch. So right now it's an APRS TNC, so you can use this with APRS Droid, WinLink Android client. Any APRS KISS client will work with DigiPi. Of course, you can do APRS and HF. You guys know that. It's on 10.1476. It'll be an APRS Digipeater if you want, or we have APRS Web Chat. That's unique to DigiPi, where you can literally do SMS type messaging with your radio. It'll do Linux Node AX.25 networking. There's an actual bulletin board in there where you actually get a video game. You can talk to other users. It's kind of like those old 1980s bulletin boards, only you do it all over amateur radio. There's a WinLink email server in there and a WinLink email client that's all web-based. There's an R.dot modem for doing WinLink email over HF, so you can connect to servers anywhere in the world using nothing more than your amateur radio. And of course, there's WS-JTX FT8, slow scan television, FLDigi, JS8 call, and of course, all of that, it runs displays on your portable device or a web browser, and it connects to your DigiPi wirelessly, which is connected to your radio. Okay, the phone's kind of small. Let's use a regular web browser to do the DigiPi setup here. So I'm just going to go to the same address, DigiPi/, and this is my PC's web browser. You know, this could be your tablet or something too. And we see the same web management interface here. So the very first thing we do is initialize, and this is where a lot of the cool changes were in DigiPi 1.9 is to make this easier. And this is where we enter all of our personal information. So our amateur radio call sign, our WinLink password, which I'm not going to give out. Our APRS password isn't a secret. You can generate that based on your call sign. Our grid square, you notice I got all these cached in my browser, so it's easy to do. My latitude and my longitude, and make sure you use a negative sign if you're in the West. You know, it's a negative 120 here in California. Our AX.25 node pass you can make up. At this point, you can select which screen you want. So we have the ST7789 based screen, so that's going to be the one you see here. That's this little guy. And the other screen we support is actually called an ILI 93, what is it called? ILA 9341. That is this big, huge screen that's a little more suitable for a large Raspberry Pi format. So this is a Raspberry Pi 5 with an ILI 9341 screen sitting on top of it. So there's two different screens. You can choose one here. Make sure you get the right one. I'm going to use the ST7789. That's the little guy. And we can make a large display if we want, like if we have a PC like we have here. And then this is the cool part. If we have a USB-based radio, we can click on USB connected radio. In this case, we have the ICOM 705, and we can enter its rig number. We can click on rig list to see all of the different radios that are supported in this over USB cables or serial ports. There's lots of them, Jaegu, all the ICOMs, so we can get our rig number from that. I'm going to look up the 705. I'm going to do a search here, 705. And here it is, the ICOM 705 is rig number 3085. I'm going to enter 3085 here. The device file, there's some examples here for the ICOM 705 is going to be TTY-ACM0. I don't need to know what all this stuff means. And then the baud rate, whatever your radio is set to. And these are the defaults for the ICOM 705. So I've got all of my information entered here. I've got my rig set up. I could just as easily connect up the hat. The DigiPi Hat is on there. All you have to do is select the hat, and then the hat will work. Actually, that's this one. Or we can select the master's communication, DRA-Pi-Zero. It's pretty cool. That is right here. You don't need to know anything special about this. Just select the correct radio interface for your particular radio. They're all right there. Okay, we're going to use the ICOM 705 in this case, and we're going to click Initialize. And it's going to take all of that data I just put in there and put it into the DigiPi, commit it to SD card. So now it knows how to operate your radio. It knows who you are and your location, everything about you. Well, maybe not everything. And then I'm going to hit reboot for the changes to take effect. All right, DigiPi is restarting, and it's going to be our DigiPi. I usually just go up here and click on the top here where it says DigiPi, and it'll load the DigiPi web management interface. It hasn't completely booted yet. We don't see any green squares, so there's no services running, but you can see it just switched into TNC mode. If I was to reload this page, you'll see the TNC will be green, and it's in TNC mode. So let's do some APRS operations real quick. Let's do some quick APRS web chat. This is basically SMS for amateur radio, and most HTs support APRS, Advanced Packet Reporting Service. So the Yaesus, Kenwoods, ICOM HTs, for some reason, do not support APRS packet radio. So you can send messages to other radios, and they can send text messages back. But typing on little radios is a hassle. But since we have DigiPi, I am just going to start the APRS web chat service, and I'm going to use my web browser to send APRS messages over RF to other radios. All right, so now that the web chat service is running, I'm gonna go down here and click on web chat. And this is like our SMS interface, kind of like iOS, I guess. And you can send a SMS, well, not SMS, a radio APRS message to any call sign you want. And I can send one to KM6LYW, and my radio back there would light up, and the message would all be done over RF. Or you can send a message to like a virtual radio. A popular one is WXBot, and I think you can just type in your zip code. It'll also use your position, your APRS position. And I click send here, and you'll see the ICOM 705 is transmitting and receiving. The DigiPi is controlling the radio, and it's sending those messages. We got an ACK packet back, indicated by the thumbs up. And WXBot responded. And again, this is all done over RF. There wasn't any internet here. At least locally, everything was done over RF. And so what WXBot, the virtual radio, replied, I'm 5 miles east of Auburn this afternoon, decreasing clouds, a high of 76. There's other cool ones out there too, virtual radio. There's one called repeat. Let's say you're in the middle of nowhere and you want to know the closest 3 repeaters or nearest 3. You can send a message of N space 3 to a call sign of repeat. And I'm going to send that, and then the repeat virtual radio, it's going to look up my position based on if I sent a position recently, and return the closest 3 repeaters to my location. So it sent me the ACK. Okay, W6YDD is nearby. In fact, he's 5 miles to the east. W6EK, hey, that's the club repeater. And W6SAR, of course, it gives a frequency and tone and offset and all that. So we've just done a bunch of APRS messaging, and we've done this all over RF locally. And I could send messages just as easily to any radio, and those radios could reply using the global APRS packet network. So I could send SMS messages to someone in Europe from America. Now, the lion's share of the distance would be tunneled through the internet, but the endpoints would all be RF. So that is APRS web chat on the DigiPi. That's one of my favorite modes. This was a really cool project to implement, was the APRSD web chat service. So now the big one that I think most people are into is WSJTX FT8. We could do all of these other ones. I'm going to go ahead and click on next to WSJTX FT8. And it's going to turn green right next to it. You'll notice it's going to disable the TNC because we can't have 2 things accessing the radio at the same time. So once FT8 has started, I go down here and click on WSJTX FT8 launch link. And that's actually going to run WSJTX FT8 in my web browser. It's actually running on the Raspberry Pi, but it's displaying on my web browser here. And of course, I can unzoom this. I got my zoom set way high. So here it is. We are on FT8. Let me switch the antenna over to HF, and we'll see if we can make a contact. Okay, we got the HF antenna hooked up now. Come on, Icon. We can't put a VHF and UHF jack on our radio. Okay, so FT8, the WSJTX is running. We're on the wrong frequency at the moment, so you can actually set the frequency here. Let's try out 20 meters today, 14074. And you notice the radio changed over to 14074, and I moved the radio so there's a lot less glare. It looks like there's a lot of activity there. The DigiPi is letting us know that it's in WSJTX mode, running FT8 right now, and it gives us the little URL to go to if we want. So the stations are starting to roll in. We're decoding. I don't know if I'm going to do a CQ or just respond to someone else doing a CQ here. I don't know. There's not that much activity. Let's try a CQ on this guy, KO6ALP. Sorry, I'm going to make you my victim here today. See if we can make a contact. All right, so let's see. Are we transmitting yet? Yeah, we are transmitting now. The ALC looks good. We got 2 amps, SWRs at 1.5. That looks good. I don't know if you can hear it or not. FT8's doing FT8. So this is actually running on the DigiPi and displaying in my web browser on my PC. This could just as easily be on my tablet. I just use the same kind of web browser, and I'm going to go to, got my tablet here, the same URL. I'm going to go to DigiPi / and I could actually do FT8 on the PC and my tablet at the same time. Can you see that? See, there's the same interface on my tablet here. And I'm going to click on WSJTX FT8, and it's going to fire up exactly what I see on my PC. I can see on my tablet as well. So I can do FT8 here in the living room on my tablet over Wi-Fi, and everything's running on the DigiPi and connected up to the radio. And of course, while we were hanging out here, we made a contact with KO6ALP. He gave me I sent him a +9, and he sent me a +5. So we totally made a contact on FT8. You'll notice the waterfall. This isn't obvious. If you scroll up the bottom here, you can get your waterfall and set your offsets however you like here, and then maximize this. So this is FT8. So we did APRS text messaging, and we've done FT8. There's so much more we could do, you guys. This is the DigiPi interface, web interface. There is an Easter egg on here, guys. There's an Easter egg. 3 of you have found it. So let me know if you find the Easter egg on the DigiPi. So a lot of the big changes for DigiPi are really under the hood. We've got the latest kernel. We had to completely rewrite the GPIO pin backend for detecting pin status, sending all the display stuff, the serial screen. The Linux kernel was updated in such a way that we basically had to rewrite everything. So that is done. There's a lot of testing. The Initialize screen is really a lot of work went into that to make sure we could use all of these different radio adapters so you guys don't have to hack anything. You notice we didn't do any command line stuff here. That's really the point of DigiPi, is to make digital modes more accessible. When was the last time you saw a kid actually talking on the phone, right? The kids are texting and sending information. If we don't keep up with that, ham radio isn't going to survive. So DigiPi is really making amateur radio modes more accessible, and it gives me a chance to give back to patrons who support this channel, and you guys are amazing. Okay, so patreon.com/KM6LYW gets you access to the DigiPi SD card image. There are literally like, I don't know, can I do a line count here? I need a better scroller, like the ending credits for a movie. Andrew, Pepper, Richard, Brad, John, everyone, thank you so much. All of these people have DigiPis now. In fact, I went out to aprs.fi, and in the comment section for the DigiPi beacon, it'll say digipi.org or something. And I was clicking around, and I was finding these DigiPis all over the world, in Poland and the Czech Republic, all over the Americas. Paris, for some reason, you guys are really into LoRa, not APRS. I thought that was interesting. Australia, you guys need to pick up your APRS packet network game. But I've been into Prague in the Czech Republic with my HT, and I've sent a SMS message to my wife's phone. And last year I did it from France. So the APRS network is fantastic. All of these people have DigiPis. A lot of them are running APRS Digipeater duty. So patrons, thank you so much for the help here. And I hope you check out the DigiPi and let me know how the build goes. We got a support group, and we've got like a Discord and a mailing list. Everyone's working together to come up with requirements and really helping out with the DigiPi project. So hey guys, my name is Craig, amateur radio call sign KM6LYW, and I am clear.